Right, so for today, we are going to be talking about the current banner, which is going to be Curren-Chan, as well as Nishino Flower Power, as well as Yukino Bijin. Whether or not to pull on this, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of this banner over here. Before we begin, I will just briefly talk about the banners I expect all F2Ps and my low spenders to be looking at, which is Narita Taishin, as well as Super Quick over here. If you need more SR cards and you want to get Super Quick, then this is a very good banner to dump your gems in, because you can get a lot of extra cards over here. Yep. The only bad thing is that I don't think low spenders and F2P can actually save enough gems for this point over here, unless Saikin decides to dump us another big fat load of gems for this thing here. Narita Taishin, however, is a very powerful card. It's a shame she comes immediately after something like the Kita Sun Black, where we burn every single gem for it. Narita Taishin is a very good horse. She basically is a horse that will see dominance in any track that allows you to abuse straight away spurt. If there's an acceleration ability, if there's a straight in the last spurt, you basically win the game. That's how powerful straight away spurt is. Increase acceleration by 0.2, but not just that, she gets the gold version of it, which means that she upgrades it into the 0.4 version, and that basically 100% wins you the game. Like, she will become very dominant on tracks where there is a straight line in the back, because you'll be able to just win the game off of that. She also comes with this, which is generically going to be always useful for any track, and also this, which is just a generic gold skill, which is really damn good, right? So your stamina requirements are less. You have this skill, which is insanely powerful, and you even have the gold version of it, and no other horse actually has this gold version as of now, for quite a while actually. There will eventually release some that do have it, but these horses will not be very good uniques compared to something like Narita Taishin. So Taishin is going to win very hard for a very long time on very specifically tracks that have a straight line at the back. All right, this is very specific, but she's a very dominant horse for those specific situations. So if you do want to dominate, or you like Taishin, then know that Taishin is a very good horse. All right, after that, we also have Super Quick. Super Quick, yeah, do I need to explain Super Quick? I don't think I need to. You know Super Quick already at this point. Everyone knows Super Quick at this point. Just go and pull this banner if you want the SR cards. I'm not even going to compare her, because everyone knows her already at this point. Okay, now we'll talk about the current banner. I also mentioned a little bit about the Sprinter Stakes Legend race over here, right? So for Curren-Chan first, she's basically a sprinter horse. Oh, sorry. Actually, before we begin, let's warm you up with a little bit of trivia. Whoops. Right. So yeah, the trivia for today is going to be about Curren-Chan. I think it's quite nice to know about the horse before you go and pull for the horses. I also believe that every horse girl has someone that likes them, so they want to know how to use them. So that's why these videos are aiming for. I'm just going to show you how to build these horses and tell you a little bit about the horse. So maybe you want to go and pull for them. Right. For Curren-Chan, unfortunately, she is not really someone that's going to be a big name in horse racing, because she is not someone who actually won a lot. She only won 2 out of 5 of her sprinting races, and she only ran 1200 meters sprinting races. The 5 races that she ran were G1s, and she also ran a few G3s and G2s, but I won't really talk about them. The G1s, she only won 2 out of 5 of them, so not really a very amazing record. Her bloodline can be traced back all the way to Northern Dancer and Native Dancer, both of which will eventually come to produce something like Oguri Cab, and even a monstrous horse called Maruzensky. Maruzensky is a supercar horse. She deserves her own trivia video, because she is another very big name in horse racing history. They also produce Kurofune. Kurofune is known for producing Chronogenesis, and is also a very decent horse. Chronogenesis right now in the JP meta is an absolutely cheating horse who dominates the meta and is extremely powerful. Kurofune, the name comes from black ships from the Portuguese when they landed at Japan. That's why they call it Kuro, which is black, and Fune, which is ship. So that is the little bit of trivia here for this horse over here, right? So these yes, they come from the same parentage, but Maruzensky's daughter would mate with Kurofune in order to make Curren-Chan later on. So yeah, I think the bloodline doesn't get super polluted or anything like that, right? The horse gene stuff I really don't know a lot of, but I know that since they come from here, it might be a bit sus, but don't worry, there's a very big degree of separation between the two of them, so it should be quite okay, right? Anyway, for this one's case here, Curren-Chan is I think 18 years old, and Daiwa Scarlet is 22 years old, and they're actually in the same retirement range, which is quite cute, I think. And Daiwa Scarlet comes from Agnes and comes from Sunday Silence over here, so I think that's very cute. And I believe the reason why they draw Curren-Chan as a very cute horse is because, first of all, she's a female horse. If you see the ribbon on the right side of their head, that means that they are a girl horse, and if it's on the left side, it is a guy horse. If you look at Oguri and Goship, I always use them as my examples because they're always on the left side, and that means they're guys because I know they're guys in real life. For Curren, she is actually a girl, and Curren-Chan here is basically a very nice temperament compared to a lot of other horses. The jockey that rides Curren for some races is actually going to be the same one that rides Orphe, and so I think that the reason why they make her into a very, very cutesy girl in Uma Musume is just because her mood is actually a lot better than someone like Orphe, who likes to smell his own shit and likes to throw the trainer off of the back. Yeah, much different, I think, the two of them. So I think that's the difference here for these two horses, right? So I think that's it really about the little bits of trivia here. I don't really have too much else to say about Curren-Chan. She really isn't a super notable name in the horse racing world, but she's still a cute woman horse in real life, a girl horse in real life, right? So anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Now we will go on to talk about her actual Uma Musume form. For Uma Musume form, she's basically someone that specializes in the sprinting position only. She only ran 1200 meter races in real life, and all of that is just short races in Uma Musume. For speed, we have 10%. For power, we have 20% bonus. Intelligence, guts, and stamina, we don't have any of them. Because for short distances, really, why do I care about stamina or guts, right? But intelligence, I still do want a bit of it. If I'm using someone that's going to be in the front position or the pace chaser position, intelligence is still really, really good to have. So unfortunately, that we do not have it on this horse, but at the same time, because we have 20% power, it means that our decks can look something like 4 speed and maybe 2 stamina, and then you just inherit the power. And because you just train the speed trains power also, and you have 20% bonus to it, it means you will get a crap ton of power just by training the speed already. So that's one of the strats you can do. You can also do something like I'll bring my stamina cards because I invested into them, and then I'll inherit the power. Or I do something like I bring power cards instead, and I inherit the stamina because I need more stamina and I'm not able to hit it purely by inheritance. There's a lot of different methods you can do as long as you hit a stat line like this. Let's go to the other horse over here, which is Bakushin. If you hit something like this, 1200 speed, 590 stamina, 1000 power for the upcoming Sprinter Stakes Legend race, that is going to be something that will basically get you a very, very high win rate against the Legend horses. So this is just a sample example of a build that you want to use for just beating another horse and getting the win, right? So that's pretty much it for this deck building part. Now we go on to her ultimate. Her ultimate is an overtake ultimate, which means that if you overtake someone at the right time, you can get a speed and acceleration boost, right? So explaining this to people again, what I would use is something like Victoria Paul Planka, right? So let's change the track to Nakayama 1200 because I believe that's the track you will be racing on. Paul Planka will trigger over here. Paul Planka, the trigger is basically final corner, right? The final corner, at the end of the final corner, and you basically trigger this if it's a straight line. If you trigger this as a straight line, so it triggers here most of the time, and it gives you mostly notably acceleration. Acceleration is the one that we want over here, and that little boost, right, actually pushes you above the other horse just slightly, and that slightly is enough to get you the win most of the time. This number here, if it's positive, it means Uma Musume number 2 is faster than number 1 here. Red shift doesn't really work on this one. It only triggers here in the middle leg. Middle leg triggering doesn't really work. You want the accelerations to trigger in this section over here. You want speed to carry over here. What do I mean by that? Let's look at this Genius X Bakushin Eco Victory. This one gives you a massive amount of 0.35 speed. If it triggers here, due to the fact that her condition is you need to be blocked on the side for 2 seconds and you need to be in the first 3 positions, if she gets blocked just over here, her speed can actually carry over into here, and that will mean she has higher maximum speed over here, and that could just win you the game, right? Extra speed over here means you are at higher maximum speed than all other horses, and so you can just straight up win. This is called speed carry over. And then for this section here, it's called acceleration in the final leg. Acceleration here and speed carry over from here to here is going to be the main things you look for uniques and what horses are very, very good for that track. And so for winning this Sprinter Stakes Legend race, you just use something like Bakushin or Air Groove, and you RNG this part over here, but you inherit Poplanca, which is El Condor Pasas ultimate. Go and find a 3-star El Condor parent from one of the whales and inherit that onto your horse, and you basically will have a very, very high chance to win against something like the King Halo boss fight later on. This is not really the King Halo's stat line. She has a lot of other insane skills, but if she does trigger her skills, you will be in for a hard fight. So that's why getting Poplanca is going to help boost you. RNGing your ultimate is going to boost you as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Curren-Chan over here. Her ultimate is an overtake ultimate that is very similar to something like Bakushin. If it triggers at the right timing in terms of overtaking at the right timing, you will be able to just win the race due to the carryover or activating the acceleration in that last section over there, which will give you the little bit of a speed boost that you need to win the game at the end. Her golds are not very amazing, however, because her first one is Dazzling Disorientation. This one is a decreased field of view, which is quite shit for winning, but it's very good for gold farming for team trials, because when your skill triggers in team trials, you get score, and so this thing here is very, very valuable for team trials. Next, you have Adored by All. Adored by All basically lets you debuff every single girl behind you in terms of speed, which is extremely powerful. Very, very powerful debuff, right? And can give you the little bit of an edge that you need in order to win the game. It's just that this horse wants to be in the pace chaser position, so if there's a horse that is in the front position, they get to avoid your debuff, which kind of sucks. So that's why this horse is not really something that's really notable for champions meets, but it's still a viable horse for team trials. Overtaking, you can overtake a really shit horse, an NPC horse inside team trials, which can trigger it. You can trigger both of these basically guaranteed as long as you have good enough wits or lucky enough, because this is a pace chaser position requirement and this is a sprint position requirement, which makes her a very good sprint pace chaser horse for the team trials. And then the better one for her is going to be Wedding Curren-Chan. Wedding Curren-Chan is going to be 10% speed, 10% power, and 10% wit. She now wants to be in the front position, so that's a very, very good thing, because her ultimate is basically a check. If there's another girl right behind you, your speed and acceleration will increase, and because you're in the front position, you can now make Adored by All hit every single girl behind you for a minus 0.25 speed, which is extremely powerful. And at least you trade that really bad field of view ultimate for something like this, which gives you a gold skill where if there's a straight if there's a straight line, you can at least RNG the acceleration over here for a victory, right? This one's a bit gambly, but at the same time, you also get another good one, which is this green skill here. Always gives you free wisdom, basically, and this one also gives you additional acceleration on the straight line again. It's the gold skill for this one and the white skill for this one. And it gives you corners as well, which is always going to be good also, right? So just Wedding Curren is going to be a very, very good horse for the short position. So if you want to get a better Curren-Chan, because it's your waifu, feel free to save for this one. Otherwise, you can feel free to get this one. Just know that she won't be a very, very powerful horse at all for anything. It's just that she has a alt that may be okay to inherit if you want to RNG accelerations and overtakes. That one I don't really like, so I don't really recommend this at all. Okay, so that's pretty much Curren-Chan for you. Now we talk about the cards in brief. For Nishino Flower, she is known for just being a very, very strong card in terms of events, but mostly because she gives you something like this, which is Charming, same as Sweet Tosho, right? But she also gives you 15% race bonus, much higher than any other card that we have at this point in time. Energy or Charming means you can pick one or the other, which is great. Wisdom and speed, power and wisdom, and also mood +1, always nice. You also can get these two over here, which is very, very good for team trials, always triggers. Pace chaser corners, always good for pace chasers, and firm condition standard distance is also very good generic green skills to go and trigger. Very, very good card for a lot of horses, and that is also a very, very good card just for racing, because she gets a lot of racing bonus and fan bonus. After that, we have Yukino Bijin. Yukino Bijin is a card that I need to kind of compare, otherwise you won't really understand. This card is mostly a parent card and not really a main horse card, because this card is quite bad in terms of output for wisdom for an SSR, and so people don't really pull it for that. People pull it because it gives this gold skill over here, no stopping me. Later on, this skill gets giga buffed, and so after it gets buffed, it is a wanted skill on basically any horse that is not in the front position. But people don't want to run this card, so what do? They buy this skill onto another horse, a parent horse, and then they pass it down to the children, because when you buy a gold skill, you have an increased chance to pass down the white version to your children. So you just make a parent horse, you put this card on them, because parent horse, I don't really care about the stats, I just care about the spark, which is a very good advantage for us. And then we pass this down to our children, and give it Nimble Navigator. Nimble Navigator is just the white version of it, which is still good and is better than just using this card in an actual carry horses deck, right? So that's pretty much it for this No Stopping Me. You can of course do something like Mayano, who naturally has it, and then you pass it down. That also works. It's really up to you, but Mayano is not a horse you want to give the unique to your children. Usually you usually want to prioritize very, very high value ultimates instead, right? So that's pretty much it for this Yukino Bijin card over here. If I compare it just very, very quickly here, you can see Yukino Bijin is going to actually be something like equivalent to Marvelous Sunday in terms of output. 20 friendship bonus, 55 mood effect, and 60 mood effect, so very similar. It has a bit of training effectiveness, not enough to make it very stand out. More wit on Marvelous side, more race bonus on Marvelous side, fan bonus also, and yes, it has one more wit recovery, but specialty rate of 50 means that Marvelous will hit the rainbow a lot often than Yukino Bijin. And just like that, you already see the difference between the two cards' outputs, right? It's very similar to a Marvelous, which is not really something you want from an SSR card, which is why people never really run this for the actual horse. They run this for the parent and just inherit the skill to the children instead, which is a lot more efficient, right? So this is going to be the Yukino Bijin card for Nishino Flower. Notably, just this part over here, you will use her if you need 15 race bonus or if you need fan bonus for fan farming. Her training effectiveness is 0, so she can't cross train, and she's also something similar to Bijin, where very high mood effect but very shit friendship bonus, and friendship bonuses are usually the ones that give you the most amount of stats. If you look at fine motion, 37.5, right? Very, very big one. Look at super quick, 37.5, right? Very, very big one. Look at Kita-san Black, not really that high, but due to priority, she will get it a lot often, and she does have 15 training effectiveness, which makes her a lot better than these for cross-training purposes, right? So that's the differences between all of these other cards over here. Can go and compare yourself the rest of them, that one's up to you. But generally, just take my advice, Nishino Flower, you will be mostly a make a new track budget card. Very, very powerful for make a new track. Bijin is just a parent card. Alright, that's pretty much it for these two support cards. Now let's talk about some parenting nonsense over here. How do I prepare for the Sprinter Stakes, right? Because upcoming is going to be Sprinter Stakes Legend, and how do I beat these freaking horses over here, right? To beat these horses, generally, all you need is what I just showed you. You just need to have 1200 speed, 590 stam, 1000 power, 200 guts, and 300 wit, and that's pretty much all you need. All you buy now is just Victoria Porplanca, and also use someone like either Bakushin on the Pace Chaser position, or you use someone like Air Groove on the Late Surger position. These are very, very good budget horses to just go and clear this thing with a very, very high win rate, right? I did not put in King Halo's exact skills and stats here. I think the stats are kind of correct, but it doesn't really matter, because for Bakushin's purposes, we just need to look at what we are aiming for, right? We just aim for good stamina. 590 basically protects you from rush debuff, so that will increase your win rate. You have power and you have speed over here. Just get as much of it as possible. And of course, Curren has very high power gains and also a 10% speed gain, so you can just go full speed and pump that power, and it makes it very, very comfortable to train as well. And then besides Porplanca, what do you want? You just inherit either Air Groove or you inherit either Bakushin, right? If you don't have any of those, then so be it. Just inherit Oguri Cap, for example, because Oguri Cap is a very universal ultimate that can at least give you something, right? Better to have something than nothing, I always say. So I think that's better. Alright, so for this one over here, Porplanca triggers here, gives you that little bit of an edge over King Halo, and then your Bakushin, you can RNG over here, Air Groove also just RNG over here, or Curren-Chan also just RNG over here, and you're pretty much good to go. If you want to know what are good skills for this specific track, click this button over here on the top right, and then just run it. It will now calculate which one will give you the highest amount of length. This is calculated as Bashin. Bashin is horse length, and so this can give you a massive amount of horse length, right? But take note that this is Majiro Ryan's ultimate, and Majiro Ryan's ultimate is the most RNG ultimate of them all, and it only works for certain horses, so it's not really easy to actually read this thing over here. Just look for generic skills, right? Look for skills that you can find on certain horses that are easy. Don't look for inherited ultimates unless they're like Porplanca or whatnot. You can see Porplanca's over here. Porplanca has a very easy condition to trigger here. Majiro Ryan, you check the condition. The condition is not so easy. It basically thinks that you perfectly activated Majiro Ryan's ultimate over here, so you get 1 million boosts to your speed here, and you can see that just bring you all the way up. It's just extremely massive if you have this. You can also inherit stuff like Nimble Navigator, Slick Surge, Rising Dragon. All of these are really, really efficient stuff, and of course all of those generic stuff, they're not very, very good for here. Generic stuff like Curvature only gives you on average about 0.29 length. You still buy it if you have the points for it, but generally you can actually buy a green and it will give you more value than Professor of Curvature. So the difference between Champions Meets and Team Charles is very, very different, right? If the skill can trigger, Team Charles is very good. It's damn good. Generic ones are super good, but for specific tracks and 1v1ing other people, you really do need to know what are the good skills, and this skill button over here is extremely useful. You have to go and thank Steven for this one. Steven or Pekan. I actually can't remember the name. Sorry again. But yeah, that is going to be the last little bit of information I have for you for today. And I think that's pretty much going to be it. Once again, the summary here is the next few banners to go for is going to be something like Taishin or your Super Creek if you want even more cards to help you get even more powerful horses. Take note, the next Champions Meet is right around the corner, presumably. I hope it is actually, because I actually have to go somewhere after this Champions Meet, and if it actually is later, I will not be able to make a video properly for the Champions Meet. So I might make a earlier one if I have to go somewhere later on. Alright, so the next few banners is just Taishin for Enclosure Enjoyers or Super Creek over here. Feel free to pull waifus along the way and whatnot. That one is just your own priority already. And then later on, for this banner over here, Nishino Flower and Curren-Chan and Yukino Bijin, these banners are generally very easy to skip for F2Ps and low spenders. But if you are a whale and you want to go and pull for Flower and Yukino Bijin because you want to prepare for the future, totally fine. Take note, Flower can be acquired later on very easily due to being an SR. So you can still go and get her from maybe a Super Creek banner over here. So not really a decision to pull this banner purely for Nishino Flower. If you want to have Bijin, at least one copy, just so you can make your own parents with it, also can. But I would recommend just borrowing from a whale. So the whales, please go and pull the Yukino Bijin so I can borrow from you. Thank you very much. I will also not be pulling on this banner. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this little guide here. Hopefully it's helped you with planning for this section over here and also plan for this immediate section over here. We'll talk about the other future stuff when it gets closer. Alright, thanks guys for watching, and if you have any other questions, feel free to comment. I will eventually get to them. Alright, that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.